Hi, today we're talking about the actor John Gilbert, who died in 1936 at the age of 38. John Gilbert was an American actor, screenwriter and director. At the height of his fame, he was known as the Great Lover. He was a rival to Rudolph Valentino. He was born John Cecil Pringle in Logan, Utah, to John George Pringle and Ida Adele Appley on the 10th of July 1897. His father was an actor and his mother was an actress in stock companies. His father owned his own stock company called Pringle's Stock Productions. His childhood was scarred by abuse and neglect. He had no friends of his own age and didn't attend school very often, as he was travelling around with his mother's stage company. His parents were more interested in their stage careers than looking after a child. His parents divorced and his mother married comedian Walter Gilbert. Walter tried to be a stepfather to John, and he finally got a bit of schooling when he attended Hitchcock Military Academy in San Rafael, California. His mother died at the age of 36 from tuberculosis in 1913, when John was 16. Walter told him he was on his own and gave him $15 and put him on a train to San Francisco. He was homeless for a while and did odd jobs to survive. He sold tyres for the Goodyear Rubber Company and worked as an actor and stage manager. He fell in love with the silent movies and wanted to get into the industry. He spoke to his stepfather, Walter, to see if he could help. With his connections, he was able to get his foot in the door of the Tom Ince film studio. Actor William S. Hart thought John had something and he put him in one of his pictures, Hell's Hinges, in 1916. He got his first lead part in A Princess in the Dark in 1917. His first marriage was in 1918 to Olivia Burwell. He moved into a boarding house in California. Olivia lived there with her mother, sister and brother-in-law. They got together, but the marriage was a bit of a disaster and they split up the next year and got divorced. In 1921, John signed a contract with Fox Film Corporation. He was cast in their movies as the romantic lead in such movies as The Count of Monte Cristo, Cameo Kirby and The Wolfman because of his good looks and charisma. Here he is in Cameo Kirby with actress Gertrude Olmsted. His next wife was actress Leatrice Joy. They were married in Tijuana in 1921, but John wasn't divorced from his first wife, and so he was a bigamist. They had the marriage annulled. He divorced Olivia, and then Leatrice and John remarried legally in 1922. They had a daughter, Leatrice Joy Gilbert, in 1924, and divorced in 1925. MGM producer Irving Thalberg wanted John. He got him out of his Fox contract and he went to MGM Studios, where he became a huge star. In 1925 he starred in two popular silent movies, The Merry Widow with actress Mae Murray and The Big Parade about World War I with actress Renee Adore. The Big Parade was MGM's most profitable movie in the silent era. In 1926, he was teamed up with Swedish sensation Greta Garbo in the movie Flesh and the Devil. They had instant chemistry, which made their movies sizzle, and it continued to sizzle off-screen as well. They embarked on a love affair, and MGM capitalised on it. In 1926, Greta Garbo and John were going to have a double wedding with director King Vidor and actress Eleanor Boardman, pictured here. Greta didn't show up and John was inconsolable. Film mogul Louis B. Mayer apparently told him to just sleep with her but not to marry her. Then apparently John punched him and Louis shouted that he was finished in Hollywood. Eleanor Boardman seems to be the only one who recounted this fight between John and Louis, so a lot of people don't believe it happened. John continued as a leading man after this so-called fight. Greta and John's second pairing in 1927 was in a movie adaptation of Tolstoy's novel Anna Karenina. The title of the movie was renamed Love. Their third film was A Woman of Affairs in 1928. In 1928, John was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. He starred in movies with the other leading ladies of the time, such as Joan Crawford and Marion Davies. His last silent movie was Desert Nights in 1929. Then came the talkies. The silent movies were replaced with sound films. John's voice was considered fine for the talkies, but I suppose everyone was learning this new way to make movies. Actors were expected to talk with correct stage diction, but when John attempted to do this, it came across as unnatural, and it caused the audience to laugh at his performances. During this time, Fox and MGM were planning to merge together, and they didn't want to lose their top star. So they offered John a contract which meant he would get $250,000 a picture in a 6-picture deal. The movie Love is one of the movies under this new contract. Then the silent films were out and the talkies were in. The merger falls through and the stock market crashes in 1929. MGM Studios loses money and can't afford the $250,000 price tag. They put John into a movie called Redemption. John's voice was unnatural, the sound quality was bad, and they chose Lionel Barrymore as a director. Lionel was an inexperienced director, and the movie ended up being shelved. John was then put into His Glorious Night, and again Lionel Barrymore was chosen to direct. Actress Louise Brooks was quoted in John's daughter's book, Dark Star, that Lionel was taking heavy doses of morphine for his arthritis and wasn't up to the job of directing the movie. During this turbulent time, he married his third wife, stage and film actress Ina Claire. They married in 1929 and divorced in 1931. The studio wanted out of the contract, so they didn't have to pay him the $250,000 a movie. His Glorious Night was a failure, and Redemption was then released, which was then a second failure. He then made Wave for a Sailor in 1930, another disaster. John started hitting the bottle hard. Then he had a couple of better parts, which didn't turn it around for him. The studio then put him into another bad movie, West of Broadway, in 1931. They were hoping he would refuse it and break his contract, but John did the picture. John then decided to write his own screenplay, called Downstairs, and cast himself in the lead. It was a good role, but it wasn't a success. Newer actors were appearing, like Clark Gable. Virginia Bruce became the fourth Mrs. Gilbert when she married him in 1932. She had co-starred in his movie Downstairs. They had a daughter, Susan Ann, but then divorced in 1934. Greta Garbo came to John's rescue and wanted him to be in her new film, Queen Christina. The movie failed. His contract finished at MGM. He then made a movie for Columbia Pictures called The Captain Hates the Sea in 1934. His alcoholism was taking its toll, as he was drunk and sick on the set. German actress Marlene Dietrich tried to save John. They had a romance and she got him to stop drinking for a while, and she got him to go out. She even wanted him to star in her movie, Desire. His destructive lifestyle caught up with him and he suffered a heart attack while swimming in December 1935. Paramount then dropped him from the movie. He then had a fatal heart attack on the 9th of January 1936. He was only 38 years old. He died in his bedroom at his home at 1400 Tower Grove Road in Beverly Hills. He had the house built in the 1920s. It was a Spanish-style home with a tennis court and a swimming pool. When John started dating Greta Garbo, Harold Grieve, a Hollywood art and set decorator who became an interior designer, installed black marble walls and a sunken black marble bathtub with gold fixtures in the bathroom. Greta complained that the marble shone too much, and so the walls were fluted to remove the shine. Here is John with actress Lillian Gish. When John died in 1936, stage and movie actress Miriam Hopkins bought the estate. She rented it to movie producer David O. Selznick, who produced Gone with the Wind. He then purchased it and lived there with his actress wife Jennifer Jones. After he died, she sold it to Ted Ashley, the chairman of the board of Warner Brothers. In 1977, singer Elton John bought the property. In 1981, he sold it to a businessman. He discovered there were rotten beams, and so the house was then demolished. What a history! John Gilbert was cremated and his ashes were interred in the Whispering Pines section, Lot 1102, Ground Interment Space 4, in Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, Los Angeles, California. He left the bulk of his estate, which was valued at $363,494, which is equivalent to over $7 million today, to his last ex-wife, Virginia Bruce, and their daughter, Susan Ann. He left $10,000, equivalent to over $200,000 today, to his eldest daughter, Leatrice. Apparently he also left amounts of money to friends, relatives and to his servants. John's abusive and then absent father died in San Diego in 1929. He was buried in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles, California, but his grave is unmarked. John could have easily afforded to pay for a marker. Did he not know when his father died, or did he deliberately leave it unmarked? It is such a shame. Look at what he did with the horrendous childhood he had. He reached the top. He could have gone into directing or screenwriting, but for whatever reason, he destroyed himself. Such a waste, and it's very sad. That was so awful, wasn't it? He had everything to live for. He'd just been reconciled with his eldest daughter and she was so excited to have him in her life. But if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!